What's up, everybody? On today's video, I'm going to explore with you guys the streets of Fort Myers and show you guys the destruction that the city of Fort Myers is experiencing right now. But we're not just going to look at downtown. We're going to hit the real streets of Fort Myers and see what the regular people are dealing with right now. Because the news will show you this tangled mess of boats here, but they won't show you what the real people of Fort Myers are going through right now. Welcome to the real streets of Fort Myers. I'm going to show you guys the destruction on the streets of Fort Myers today. People in Fort Myers are complaining that the news is not covering the residential neighborhoods and the destruction in the hoods and the poor neighborhoods where the working class people live. So today we're going to stay away from the main strips that people have been seeing on the news, and we're going to show you what the real people of Fort Myers are going through after this situation. We're going to get in-depth and up close and take a real good look at the situation here. Real journalism, real life situations. We're going to show you what the people of Fort Myers are living with right now. These are the real streets of Fort Myers, and this is what the people of Fort Myers are living with. A bunch of parents in the real neighborhoods where the real people live and work. And there's two sides to that story. One side of the story is that some people are saying stuff like, you know, the poor neighborhoods aren't on the news, they're not showing the real streets. And the other side of it is, when the news reporters do go into the real neighborhoods, how are they taken by the community? How are they perceived by the community? So there's two sides to that story. One side is people complaining about you know, how they're not getting coverage, but when the news reporters come into these neighborhoods, how are they perceived? How are they taken? Now, I've personally never had a problem in Fort Myers, but I've definitely been in communities where it's difficult. I mean, I'll be honest, even right now, even the rich people are going to start screaming at you when they see you recording in their neighborhood. So tempers are definitely high, and definitely in a residential community, you know, it can be a little intimidating to go into these places if you're a reporter after a hurricane, because people are just simply on edge. You'll see people have put up signs that they have food for people. So everywhere you'll see a lot of people that have prepared foods. Both in Lehigh and Fort Myers, a lot of people in the community just making food, Cuban, Dominican, Jamaican. Just kind of giving back to the community. But even structurally, all these houses seem to be okay in the inner city of Fort Myers, and there's new ones coming. Lots of new houses coming. So definitely, you'll see here's a tent in the front yard. That means they're sleeping outside because they still don't have power back. You want to sleep outside just so that you don't bake to crap. You know what I mean? It's hot inside these houses. See, there's still power lines down all over the city. But I just want to show you guys, you know, what the actual city of Fort Myers, the real neighborhoods look like, because on the news you're only getting this kind of extreme storm surge coverage and extreme wind coverage. But, you know, not everything in Fort Myers is of that nature. You just have real places, real people, live in real situations now. I just want to show you guys kind of like the real deal for like the working class people, because what you're seeing on the news kind of doesn't represent what the people are actually living through out here, which is just a very uncomfortable situation. Mockingbird singing away. Tree snap, man. Of course, you know, the news reporters were scared to come in these neighborhoods before the hurricane. They sure as crap aren't going to come here now when people are angry. And no telling how people might react to you recording. See here, there's still low-lying electrical cords right outside of this building. I just overheard somebody talking about how, you know, they haven't been able to talk to their family yet because these areas still don't have power, still don't have, you know, it looks like there's still no power out here in this part of Fort Myers. So, real people live in real situations. There's some huge trees that fell. Some of the size of these trees that fell is incredible. But it's definitely a real situation out here. People still don't have power. People still have not been able to talk to their family members and let them know if they're okay or not. So it's still a real situation out here for sure. So there's a different situation unfolding downtown than there is on the streets. These businesses on Palm Beach Boulevard were struggling before this hurricane. Imagine now. A lot of people's businesses aren't gonna make it. A lot of people's dreams are shattered on the spot, you know. But yeah, they're not gonna come up in these neighborhoods. Are you kidding me, bro? Not a chance in the world they're gonna come up in here. This is a real situation going on right here, right now. People are angry. People lost a few things they had. They lost them. You know, it's real out here. People are going through it right now. You know, there's people out here that don't have food, don't have power. You can smell the septic on the street right now. There's a bad smell here. You can smell the septic waste. The chicken's running. There's a real, that chicken, somebody gonna eat that chicken tonight. You know what I mean? That chicken is in trouble. There's no septic, the sewers are backing up. It smells like Burger King up in here. So yeah, this is a real situation out here. People are really going through it for real. They ain't got power, ain't got food, ain't got money, ain't got a way to do, you know, whatever they're going through right now. There's no telling how they could react, you know, or what need they may have, you know. Like you got a septic tank in Lehigh, but they got city here, so there's no power. It just backs up. That's why you smell all that. It's definitely not a pleasant smell. Yeah, they were angry because they said the news didn't cover that one that got power back, but I don't think they realized it's not just them. It's like everybody. I mean, we're in an area that barely got affected, and we just got our power back last night. So imagine out here where it's complete destruction. You know, there are a lot of work crews working, but it's gonna take a lot. I don't think they realize that it's like at least the Oldsmobile made it. Though I think it's clean. Ripped the whole roof off that little house right there. I don't think they realize how vast the destruction zone is. And, like, even Colonial didn't have power. Like, the power lights from the city. There's definitely crews out here working. There's a lot of crews out here working. In fact, there's more crews out here. Crews working out here than in our area. To feel the frustration, but it's really just it's that bad of a situation right now where it's gonna take. Michigan got hit. Michigan Shoemaker, y'all. Unbelievable. It's a historic neighborhood right here. This is a historic district right outside of downtown Fort Myers. They had storm surge and they had wind damage, so they got the worst of both. It's a beautiful historic neighborhood here, but they got wind damage and they got storm surge here. So places like this, they got a double hit. They got the hit from the wind and they got the hit from the storm surge, so it's like a double loss for people in these neighborhoods. We've done videos in all these neighborhoods before the hurricane, so that's a good thing. The mockingbirds are still singing though. What a shame. What a shame. How many feet? 4 feet high. Cars being dried out still. These are beautiful homes, really. Really careful driving through these places because there's still electrical cables down. And we're just about an inch off that one. Please believe there's people that right now are gonna go get free water even though they can afford it. There's people right now that are gonna go get free clothes even though they don't need it. There's people right now that are gonna go apply for help for the poor and the needy even though they got money and they don't need it. Like, you'll see, like I seen people that I know they're loaded. I've seen them. I know people that I know they're loaded. And I've seen them at lines getting free water and stuff. Like, that was back during the other hurricane. So there's definitely some self-centered, opportunistic people out there. Take a look at downtown Fort Myers today, people. But there's still people walking around who look like tourists. It's like people aren't really gonna stop because, you know, a hurricane or whatever. Like, that's not gonna stop people from just kind of enjoying their Florida life. You know what I mean? Like, it's an interesting thing to see. But
get a job.
Tu madre que se busca un trabajo. I make more money than you do in your little work, man. Yo no tengo puesta nalga, ¿oíste? I know how to read, write, upload, and get people to follow me, stupid. You're the one who's working in a work van. You're the one in a work van who didn't learn how to read and write, buddy. So now you gotta work in a work van and you get home with your butt all wet from sweat. Tu madre que se busca un trabajo. Hey, look, bro. Why is this light so solid, yellow? It's very strange. I'm gonna go, I guess. It's like a 4-stop or something now?
Yeah.
That's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. It's just a solid yellow light. After Hurricane Irma, I had a junk removal company. And, you know, I worked really hard. I even fell off a ladder and broke an arm. Since then, I've learned how to read and write. You know what I mean? If you want to be an illiterate person, you can be in a work van. You can be in a work van free. I had to work for it. You know what I mean? These cameras aren't free. These editing programs aren't free. The computers you need to process these large files aren't free. But back to the same thing. If I'd hate me too if I were you. But keep in mind, when I used to have a junk removal company and I was working 14 hours a day after Hurricane Irma, and then I fell off a ladder and broke my arm doing construction and demolition, I wasn't hating on the person that was living better than me. I was trying to figure out how I could be that person. So don't hate on me because I live the life you wish you had.
Whoa.
But I don't need a job. I have investments. I don't need a job. I have properties. I don't need a job. I have net worth. I don't need a job. I have income. Why would I get a job so I can be in a work van like you, having to wake up at 4 in the morning and have somebody else make my decisions for me, or be my own boss where I make my own rules? Maybe there's something else out there for you. Maybe it's maybe all you're good for is just being a work van.
Maybe you don't have the motivation.
Maybe you'd be embarrassed of what people think about being a YouTuber. Maybe you would never amount to more than being a construction worker because you'd be embarrassed of what people might say. You wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, if somebody told me to get a real job, I would be distraught. Maybe you're too sensitive and you care too much about what people think to have your own lane. You know what I mean? There's definitely different limitations that different people have. Maybe all you can be is a construction worker, but believe me, when I was a construction worker, I knew I could do something way better for myself.